It's time now for our press review, and we're starting here in France, where yesterday it was announced that former President Nicolas Sarkozy's prison sentence has been upheld. Today, he's been out to defend himself in the French papers. Our press reviewer, Leo McGuinn, joins me now in studio. Leo, what has he been saying for himself in those interviews?
Yeah, so this is the front page of the right-leaning Le Figaro this morning. You can see Nicolas Sarkozy on the front page. It was an exclusive interview between Sarkozy and Le Figaro. He says, "I am a fighter. The truth will win out in the end." He was originally convicted back in 2021. He was accused of trying to bribe a magistrate to attain information about a legal case that he himself was implicated. He became the first former president to receive a custodial sentence, a sentence that's now been upheld. If we look inside Le Figaro, here's the full interview. You can see Nicolas Sarkozy looking rather stoic in that picture there. He says it doesn't matter whether he's liked or not. His popularity doesn't matter. All that matters is that the law is respected, which he doesn't believe is the case at the moment. The judicial system is determined to find him guilty at all costs. That's what he says, no matter the facts of the case. He adds that he's disappointed but not surprised by this decision, and says he's fighting not just for himself but for democracy. He was particularly keen to lash out at the judges involved in the case. He accused them of having trampled on the essential principles of our democracy, as he puts it. Interesting, if we look at Libération, they have a piece on Le Figaro interview. They basically slam it. They call it an embarrassment. They accuse the ex-premier of just using attack as a form of defence. The piece also criticises Le Figaro. They say they don't interview Sarkozy properly, don't pose him any proper challenging questions. He's allowed to present his argument without any sort of challenges. That's what Libération says.
Crossing to the UK then, Leo, a lot of the papers there are focusing on a major announcement by one of Britain's leading companies. Tell us about that.
Yeah, as you say, Sharon, making the headlines in many British papers this morning is the fact that BT, British Telecom, are going to be cutting 55,000 jobs, but crucially 10,000 of them are supposedly be going to AI. You can see the front of the Daily Mail there. They asked the question, is this the start of the great AI jobs bloodbath? You can see the news making the front of the Guardian here as well. BT to replace staff with AI, and also the Financial Times. They call it the most radical cuts since privatisation, since British Telecom was privatised. So BT are to slash up to 42% of their workforce by the end of the decade. By 2030, it comes just a couple of days after Vodafone revealed that they'll be cutting 11,000 jobs themselves. The decision, of course, comes to cut costs, but also Chief Executive Philip Janssen says that AI tools such as ChatGPT, they're ready. They've shown enough progress to show that they can replace humans, especially in customer service, over the next 6 or 7 years. It comes on the same day, if we look at the Times, the same day that Rishi Sunak spoke and said that rules need to be in place to curb AI, and that, yeah, look, AI might be a great thing, but we need to be wary of its progress despite it being transformative technology. If we look at iNews here, they expand on that. UK warns new rules are needed to tame AI. He also said that global regulations needed. The PM made the comments during a flight to Japan, where the G7 is, of course, taking place in Hiroshima.
Turning now to Saudi Arabia, Leo, the Arab League summit is getting underway there today in Jeddah, and controversially, the Syrian president will be there for the first time in 12 years. How is this being received?
Yeah, so Syrian President Bashar al-Assad is attending an Arab League summit for the first time in 12 years, as you say, since 2011, as is reported by the Middle East Eye here. I want to show you two different articles that come at it from two different angles but have the same sort of idea. This is from the Financial Times. They call the re-engagement misguided. They say it's a sad day for Arab democracy, and it sends a chilling message to the victims of his regime. They're basically declaring that Assad can continue without consequence by allowing him back in back to the negotiating table, if you like, and his reintegration hands a diplomatic victory to a war criminal as well as his allies in Iran and Russia. I want to contrast this to a more humane piece posted in The Guardian. So this is an opinion piece, but a long-form interview written by Wafa Mustafa. She talks of the last time she saw her father 10 years ago in 2013. He was dragged away by al-Assad's secret intelligence. She said that this normalisation feels like it's sidelining what happened in Syria. It puts it down as just a hiccup or a bump in the road, and that the narrative that the situation in Syria is improving is completely false. It's a lie. She calls Assad's so-called comeback a betrayal of Syrians and Syria.
On a much lighter note, Leo, you've some news about kissing. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, we often get asked about our first kisses, but I want to talk to you about the very first kiss. And the news is in the Washington Post that it happened at least 4,500 years ago, which is over 1,000 years earlier than originally thought. So this is according to an article published in the journal Science by two Danish researchers. They said that while kissing in a familial or friendly way has been a part of humanity since essentially the start of time, kissing in a romantic or sexual way has been documented as early as 2,500 BC in ancient Mesopotamia, as you can see here, according to ancient texts that had previously been overlooked. And I want to give you a little bit of trivia, Sharon. If you need this in a pub quiz, you can thank me. The only other animal apart from a human that kisses in a romantic or sexual way, it's a bonobo. So now you and everyone else out there knows that information. You're welcome.
As I say, you never know when that might come in handy, Leo. That is Leo McGuinn joining us there with our press review here on France 24.